This is insanity. It's the embodiment of what Jonah talks about in his book, the totalitarian temptation to micromanage every detail of our lives. And CEI's job is quite clear, as Jonah pointed out. It's to deliver an intellectual smack in the head to this kind of lunacy, to demonstrate that man's ingenuity is the brightest hope for prosperity, that man's freedom is the best way in which to empower that ingenuity, and to ensure that the institutions of the free market, property rights, free trade, a rule of law, are expanded to be the framework to make these miracles happen. We do all that, and we do more. We champion the technological revolution. We focus on how the risk of technological innovation are vastly less than the risk of technological stagnation. We work on how the risk of regulation, the unseen and the invisible, are among the greatest threats that mankind faces. Because our revolutionary goal is to promote capitalism, the brilliant, dynamic system in which the good products, firms, and technologies of today are continuously displaced by tomorrow's better ones. And this gets us back to Schumpeter. 66 years ago, the Czech-born economist Joseph Schumpeter championed this whole process of capitalism, creative destruction. But Schumpeter warned, as Zona mentioned, that capitalism would carry the seeds of its own doing. Capitalism would create a massive success, a massive middle class, with mankind freed from subsistence, able to work, not having to work all day. Some would become intellectuals, some would become entrepreneurs. But the intellectuals would eventually become envious. If we're so good, if we're so bright, if we're so moral, why are the entrepreneurs making so much money? Envy being a not ignoble emotion, they would swiftly go to theories of delegitimization. People think the entrepreneur is creating wealth, but they're exploiting someone: women, the poor, third world, our planet. And having undermined the moral legitimacy of the market, the stage would be set for the expansion of the state. Any market, because remember, as Hayek said, the narratives we hear that tell us about the world outside of ourselves are written by the intellectuals. The intellectuals are the filters between most people and most realities around us. And if those narratives are anti-market, most of us will see the world through essentially pink-colored, pink-tinged glasses. The narratives are important, and we have to find a way of dealing with that. How do we address the fact that most people see the market in negative terms? Well, we haven't dealt with it well. The result has been that almost everywhere, government has grown, the market has become ever more regulated. The intellectual class mans this vast regulatory bureaucracy, the Leviathan world, the Mandarinette world that Jonah mentioned I talk about. Business finds itself on the losing side of a cultural war of attrition, increasingly banished from the war of ideas. Well, was Schumpeter right? Well, he was German, he was a pessimist. I am not, as Lester at my table knows. Schumpeter didn't realize that not all intellectuals would be infected by the collectivist virus, nor did he anticipate the intellectual counter-revolutionary themes sparked by von Mises, by Hayek, by Friedman. And most importantly, he didn't realize that wealth-creating entrepreneurs and pro-market intellectuals might create alliances to counter the unholy alliance between status intellectuals and rent-seeking economic interests. In a way, Schumpeter never really envisioned an occasion like this. Groups like you working together with intellectuals in the business community joined. Thus, our challenge is to mount a more effective counter-strategy to find more ways of linking entrepreneurial, wealth-creating business groups and intellectuals understanding and justifying and providing the moral and intellectual defense for that foundation. On the success of our ability to create an expanded alliance of that time may well depend the future of civilization. Can we succeed in that counteroffensive? Can, Schumpeter notwithstanding, capitalism survive? As a partial answer, let me quote one Southerner, William Faulkner. He was a Southerner like me, shy, soft-spoken, well, not exactly like me. And during the Cold War, in his 1950 Nobel Prize speech, he pointed out, he stated, Our tragedy today is a universal physical fear expressed in only one question: when will I be blown up? That was the nuclear age, and I was a kid then, and nuclear holocaust was a truly frightful question. But compare Faulkner's concern then with the supposedly central question that we're being beset with today, the one we'll be talking about later. Will the Earth warm up another degree? Which is more sustainable, fair trade coffee or recycled tofu? Which has a larger carbon footprint, plastic or paper? Today's status arguments for global control, global power, aren't quite as persuasive as nuclear power was once. We take our ideas seriously. Faulkner did too. Faulkner ended his Nobel Prize speech by stating, "I believe that man will not merely endure, he will prevail." At CEI, and I hope most of you in the audience agree, our hope is that capitalism will not only survive, not merely prevail, but that it will flourish. And later tonight, from the president of a land that now enjoys the fruits of its own liberating revolution, we will learn more about why. And now, go back to your dinner. Thank you very much.